All right, let's welcome captain of Legion 13 and defending LIV Golf Chicago champion, Jon Rahm. Jon, you're currently second in the individual standings with 2 events to go. What's your mindset heading into this final stretch of the season to try and close the gap on Joaquin?
I don't think mindset would be any secret. Joaquin's been playing really good, as have many players who are also behind me in the rankings. So the only thing left to do this year is to get a win, and I think for there to be a realistic chance of winning it all again starts with a win here, and obviously combined with Joaquin maybe not having a great week, right? So I definitely need that to go into next week with a realistic chance and hopefully have another showdown again on the last event.
Legion 13 are leading the team standings with 4 wins this season. You're chasing a 3rd team victory in a row after your wins in Andalusia in the UK. What's been the key to your team's success and the consistency that you've shown this year?
I think the format change, allowing all 4 scores to count all 3 days, was something that I thought would be very beneficial for us the second I knew we were going to add Tom McKibben to the team. Somebody that was relatively unknown to almost everybody in LIV, who now is not, right, knowing how good it was. Obviously, Terrell doing Terrell things. And Caleb, with more experience, playing better, right? So I was always confident we could do really well. And it's funny, we started great, then had a bit of a slump, got our 2nd win, and then almost going into summer, we're all playing at a much higher level. Getting those 2 wins in a row and being consistently in a good place. So at this stage, again, hopefully getting the number 1 spot to where we can control as much as we can control going to the last event is something important.
Awesome. Can we start with Mike?
Jon, given that Waco's won 5 times, are you surprised you even have a mathematical chance of catching him?
Yes. I think it was after Valderrama when finishing 2nd, and I know he didn't have a great week that week. When I looked and I was only 16 points back, it's just kind of, it's one of those moments where math wasn't mathing very well. But it's, I guess, afterwards where somebody told me, I think it was yesterday, actually the weeks he hasn't won, he hasn't had his best stuff and hasn't added a lot of points, right? So that's where, keeping my consistency, I've had a chance to stay somewhat close. Now, he has won 5 times, so, I mean, I guess this is as close as I can get without getting a win. That's why I'm saying if I can win this week and he doesn't have a great one, I think I'm definitely going to be a fun week going to next week.
And I wanted to ask you, too, about, you mentioned you guys have won 8 times as a team, and you've got the 2 tournament wins and the individual championship. How do you process a team victory versus an individual victory? Is it similar kind of gratification? Is it somewhat different? How is it in your mind?
No, it's very different. I mean, the team victory is a collective effort, right? It's something we share between all of us. In its different stages of the year, I feel like they have a different meaning, right? Earlier on, when you get in those wins, at least in my case, I feel like I'm much more excited about the actual win, and then later on the year, like right now, it's almost more about, okay, one step closer to having the number 1 spot going into the final event. And obviously the team championship starts to take much more of a presence and weight, and almost thinking about that more, right? So throughout the year, it's a weird way how it changes how I feel about each spot, right? Individually, obviously, you always want to win as well, but it's a different feeling. It's just a different feeling. But even then, individually, the team is there to celebrate with you, which is quite special.
And then beyond the victories themselves, what kind of moments have you experienced as a captain that have been gratifying? Whether it's, I don't know, watching Caleb develop, maybe it's a moment that sticks out in your mind from a team bonding standpoint. Maybe it's a sponsorship. What kind of gratifying moments have there been there?
Without, I mean, I do get some moments where some players can be a little bit more vulnerable towards me, more than they would have ever been because of the position I'm in as captain. And I think they're also more willing to ask for help because of the environment we're in, as opposed to any other tour, right? Being more individual, sometimes people can hesitate asking for advice. So without getting too much into what other people have asked, I think my favorite part of this year, having arrived early in Hong Kong and having plenty of time till Friday after a team dinner. For some reason, I don't know if it was me or Tara, I think it might have been me, who had the brilliant idea of, let's go find a karaoke bar. And, you know, Google Maps works as it works, translating from Chinese to English, right? So finding myself and Taro in this building in Hong Kong Island, not that we were ever in danger, but somehow I ended up on the roof looking for this place. At some point, we ended up in the basement, finding a different place. So that whole story as a team, and almost showing the one that's traveled the least, and I know his name comes up in a lot of this, but it's Caleb, right? Caleb, who hasn't traveled that much, hasn't seen that much world, right? It's, you know, him telling the story of we were in the sketchiest part of the city. We were not. Okay, we're in a very nice part of Hong Kong Island, never in danger. So almost having those team experiences. We ended up finding a very nice place. It was a lot of fun, right? Jet lag hours, your brain and your body are obviously operating in different places, and you're awake at weird times. So it was, in a weird way, a very fun night with the team. Unexpected, because not that it was the plan, but recalling that story the next morning from Caleb's eyes, thinking that we were, I mean, I wouldn't know how to explain it, but if he were to tell you the story, you would have thought we were in Skid Row. We were not. So it was just a little bit of a fun night early on the year.
And just for the record, did you actually sing? Did you sing yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm a terrible singer. I've said many times, if I could trade a lot of my golfing talent for singing, I would. But yeah, I mean, not everybody has the bravery, I guess, to stand up and sing. But most of us did. I guess after a while you get comfortable enough. But not in public. We had our own little room. There's no way of going in a room like this and sing. No chance.
Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
That was the first time I ever went to one. Yeah, I figured China was as good a place as any other to go to. So.
Hey, thanks.
I think just over here, and then we'll go over here.
John, you mentioned the format change helping all scores count. Did you campaign for that kind of when you arrived?
No, I did not. Whenever it was brought up, I thought it was a good idea. I thought it would be better for everybody and for the strength of competition as a league, right? I think on Friday and Saturday, if somebody was way out of position, not playing great, you could have the excuse of, well, my score doesn't count either ways, and be able to give up. That's something that I personally can't stand. I've told everybody on my team, even if it doesn't count on Friday, that was before they changed it, I'd rather you shoot 8 over than 9 over. Compete till the end, because that kind of sets an ideology that you're always going to keep fighting no matter what. That's always been my philosophy, at least. If you can finish 33rd instead of 34th, go ahead, because it's better, right? You have to give your duty as a competitor to do that until the end. And I think changing that rule was great for everybody to actually try. And again, I thought it was to my benefit as a team, right? It was better for us.
Clearly, winning a lot. On the idea of format changes, with LIV's ability to do that pretty nimbly, as the league looks to pursue world ranking points, have you been in the discussions of what changes you think would get that done or should be made on that front?
Yes and no. I think the way I see it, at least right now, that there's a process to hopefully enter those world ranking points and get at least our foot in the door. And then once we're allowed, we can see what changes can be made to earn as many as possible, keeping the integrity of what LIV Golf is about, right? So examples of that would be, let's say, with whatever we're doing currently, we get 20 points, right? If you add a fourth round, you go to 25. Is that worth it? Is that not worth it? If you add a cut, things like that. As in right now, with as little players as we have, I don't see a cut working very, very well with the teams, and I think it would be a little odd. But if the league were to expand and you want, let's say you go to 15 teams, you have 60 players, now you can actually make possibly something work. There's many possibilities that I can think of. By the way, this completely hypothetical because I haven't spoken to anybody about it, but there's things I think we could do to add more world ranking points if needed, right? So I don't know, and I'm sure there's more that I can't think of that the folks at OWGR and maybe Scott or in the front of the LIV office can probably tell us about to give us a little bit more of strength of field.
Just here on the right.
Jon, what do you like about this golf course, and how does it suit your game?
It's all I know about it. Obviously, is based on last year, and it was so firm and fast and windy that it was pretty clearly a ball striker's golf course, right? Greens small and very undulated, so you had to be very precise going into the greens. There's some of them like 3 and 12 that you're playing with such small margins that you're almost thinking, well, I'm going to have to get an up and down most likely 2 out of 3 days because it's so hard to hit those greens in 2. But I must also say the fairways are already firm. Greens are still a little soft, but they're probably trying to save them. We're going to have the complete opposite wind in theory than we had last year. So the golf course is going to play vastly different. We also have a brand new tee, which seems like 150 yards further back on 12. Went from being a short par 4 last year, at least playing short, to a very long par 5 because it might play into the wind. And then the 8th hole, which we didn't use the back tee last time because we played into the wind, now maybe playing downwind, and it's a tee box that's 95 yards further back. So we are going to see some changes on the course, and especially the way you play. So I still think it's a ball striker's course. Fairways are wide, but they don't play as wide because of how much they bounce and roll out. So if you have a crosswind and they have that ball going with the wind, you can easily bounce and keep on going. Like an example I can give was 11 yesterday in practice round. Caleb and I we overfaded our tee shot a little bit and landed not dead center, but not too far right of center, and both of the balls missed the fairway right because it's just big bounce and kept on going, right? So there's many examples of that. And once the greens get firm, it's a bit of everything needs to be good, right? So I was hitting it so good last year at this point that I felt like it really, really suited my game at that point as well.
With that in mind, what do you need to work on these next couple of days before Friday gets here?
Same as any other week, really. We'll see how the golf course develops, but there's no rain forecasted, there's wind forecasted. So I'm sure the superintendents are going to do a great job at making sure the golf course is as challenging as possible. The main thing I would say, just trying to control the ball on the wind, trajectory control, ball flight, right? Make sure your spin control is good, just in case the greens are still soft enough early on the week. They're so sloped that you need to make sure you have enough control coming onto the greens, so you don't roll off or get into the habit of missing too many greens, because it's not easy up and down. The rough is quite thick, and you're most likely going to have to deal with quite a bit of slope into those shots.
Do we have any more questions?
Last one. On the Ryder Cup front, I think there's a lot of assumptions that are fair that you'll just be involved. Have you been in conversations with Luke to confirm things? Is your late September look pretty solid at this point?
There's nothing I can confirm nor deny, but I think he has been texting me, like he has been texting quite a few other players that are on that list of possibly getting picked, right? Luke is extremely dedicated and very well organized as a captain, so I think there's probably, six automatic and then 6 picks, right? So there's probably about, I'll say at least 10 names on top of those guys who are qualified that he's probably constantly texting. He might have told some people that I don't think he's actually told anybody they're in yet because it's too early, right? He's probably waiting till probably the end of August through the playoffs and our events to maybe start making statements like that. In my case, no, but I think I'm just one more of those many names.
All right, thank you very much for your time, John. Play well this week.
Thank you.